Tony, stop breathing. No, seriously. The vintage wool you found is a biohazard masquerading as fashion. We're in West Riding of Yorkshire, circa 1813, and the industry we're looking at didn't just recycle clothes, it resurrected the dead. Welcome to God Awful History with Balthazar and Tony. Grab your carbonic soap, it's going to get dusty. In the 1800s, wool was the gold of England, but it was expensive. To keep profits high, industrial tycoons created the Shoddy district. They didn't use fresh fleece from sheep. Instead, rag and bone men scoured the globe for shoddy, the discarded filth of the world. They bought blood-stained uniforms from Crimean battlefields and fever linens from hospital wards where the previous owners had just expired from contagion. To turn these stiff, soiled rags back into soft wool, they used a machine called the Devil. It was a massive iron cylinder studded with thousands of jagged teeth that tore garments apart at high speeds. It was a mechanical resurrection that turned the plague victim's shroud into a merchant's profit. Here's the ick, Tony. They didn't wash those rags. Water cost money, and time was profit. They fed the smallpox-ridden bedsheets directly into the devil's teeth. The forensic reality is staggering. The grinding process was pulverized dried blood, skin flakes, and pathogens into a thick, suffocating cloud known as shoddy dust. Mill workers inhaled this daily, leading to shoddy fever, a violent respiratory failure caused by breathing in the shredded remains of the dead. But the pathogens didn't stay in the mill. Viruses like smallpox and bacteria like typhus are incredibly hardy. They survived the mechanical shredding and remained trapped in the new fibers. When these garments got wet in the rain, they didn't smell like wool, they smelled like damp biological decay because the previous owner's oils and sweat were never truly removed. This wasn't just an industrial hazard, it was a bridge for disease. The finished shoddy cloth was sold as cheap blankets and coats to the industrial poor and the British Army. A working-class family would buy a new blanket to keep their children warm, unwittingly bringing the bacteria of a London plague pit or a foreign battlefield into their nursery. In 1883, medical officers traced a smallpox epidemic directly back into these rag mills. It proved that the 19th century supply chain was a literal conveyor belt for infection, moving the grave to the closet for sixpence a yard. Tony made a song about this because history is easier to remember with a beat.
Across the hills of Yorkshire where the heavy grinders spin, they gather up the uniforms of battles that have been, the scarlet coats of Waterloo, the rags of filth and grime are tossed into the devil to be shredded for all time. The metal teeth tear through the cloth, the storm of lint and bone, to grind away the history that every thread has known. They mix the rock with virgin wool to hide the graying stain, and weave the dead man's memory to sell for private gain. A fog of shoddy fever hangs like ghost within the air. It coats the lungs in microscopic dust and dark despair. The workers cough up fibers while the greasy pulleys groan, choking on the refuse that the wealthy won't disown. Beneath the heavy fabric lies a secret, sharp and deep, of parasites and pathogens that never truly sleep. For though the cold looks dapper in the window of the town, it carries all the pox and plague of empires falling
So next time you see a bargain wool throat, Tony, just remember, it might have history you really don't want to touch. The 19th century didn't believe in waste, but they certainly believed in profit over hygiene. Subscribe to the archives and tell us what's the oldest thing you own that you're pretty sure isn't haunted or infectious. Tell us the story of your weirdest heirloom in the comments.